They decide not to plow a field that is vulnerable to soil erosion. That may cost them a little money, but it helps the environment. I think that we ought to have an expanded conservation reserve program. And I think that the environmental benefits that come from sound management of the land ought to represent a new way for farmers to get some income that will enable you to make sensible choices in crop rotation and when you leave the land fallow and the rest. Now, I'll go beyond that and say I think we need much more focused rural economic development programs. I see a time when the internet-based activities are more available in the rural areas and where the extra source of income that farm families used to have from shoe factories is replaced by an extra source of income from working in the information economy. So we need to do a lot of things, but we ought to start with a better safety net.
Governor Bush, 2 minutes.
I'd like our farmers feeding the world. We're the best producers in the world, and I want the farmers feeding the world. We need to open up markets. Exports are down, and every time an export number goes down, it hurts the farmer. I want the next president to have fast-track negotiating authority to open up markets around the world. We're the best. We're the most efficient farmers. I don't want to use food as a diplomatic weapon from this point forward. We shouldn't be using food. It hurts the farmers. It's not the right thing to do. I'm for value-added processing. We need to do more work on value-added processing. You take the raw product you produce, I presume you're a farmer, off your farm, and convert it. I think value-added processing is important. I'm for research and development, spending research and development money so that we can use our technological base to figure out new uses for farm products. I'm for getting rid of the death tax, completely getting rid of the death tax. One reason family farmers are forced to sell early is because of the death tax. This is a bad tax. The president shouldn't have vetoed that bill. It's a tax that taxes people twice. It penalizes the family farmer. So should I be fortunate enough to earn your vote? I also understand that I'm going to open up markets, but I also understand that farming is a part of our national security. I'm from a big farm state, with the second biggest farming state in the country, and I hear from my farmers friends all the time. Vice President's right. By the way, every day's Earth Day if you own the land, and I like the policies that will encourage farmers to set aside land as well for conservation purposes. Thank you.
A quick thing on the inheritance tax. There is a difference between the two of you on this. Vice President Gore?
Yeah, I'm for a massive reform of the estate tax or the death tax. And under the plan that I've proposed, 80% of all family farms will be completely exempt from the estate tax. And the vast majority of all family businesses would be completely exempt, and all of the others would have sharply reduced. So 80%. Now, the problem with completely eliminating it goes back to the wealthiest 1%. The amount of money that has to be raised in taxes from middle-class families to make up for completely eliminating that on the very wealthiest, the billionaires, that would be an extra heavy burden on middle-class families. And so let's do it for most all, but not completely eliminate it for the very top.
What's the case for doing that, Governor?
Eliminating the death tax?
Completely, for everybody.
Because people shouldn't be taxed twice on their assets. It's either unfair for some or unfair for all. Again, this is just a difference of opinion. If you're from Washington, you want to pick and choose winners. I don't think that's the role of the president. I think if you're going to have tax relief, everybody benefits. Secondly, I think your plan, there's a lot of fine print in your plan, Mr. Vice President, in all due respect. It is, I'm not so sure 80% of the people get the death tax. I know this, 100% will get it if I'm the president. I just don't think it's fair to tax people's assets twice, regardless of your status. It's a fairness issue. It's an issue of principle, not politics.
New issue, and the question will be asked by Joyce Kleemer of Governor Bush. Joyce Kleemer, there you go.
Hi, Joyce.
Yes, hi, Governor. I'm very concerned about the morality of our country now. TV, movies, the music that our children are barraged with every day. And I want to know if there's anything that can be worked out with the Hollywood or whoever to help get rid of some of this bad language and the whatever. You know, it's just bringing the country down. And our children are very important to us, and we're concerned about their education at school. We should be concerned about their education at home also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate that question. Laura and I are proud parents of teenage girls, twin daughters, and I know what you're saying. Government ought to stand on the side of parents. Parents are teaching their children right from wrong, and the message oftentimes gets undermined by the popular culture. You bet there's things the government can do. We can work with the entertainment industry to provide family hour. We can have filters on internets where public money is spent. There ought to be filters in public libraries and filters in public schools so that if kids get on the internet, there's not going to be pornography or violence coming in. I think we ought to have character education in our schools. I know that doesn't directly talk about Hollywood, but it does reinforce the values you're teaching. I greatly expand character education funding so that public schools will teach children values which have stood the test of time. There's after-school money available. I think that after-school money ought to be available for faith-based programs and charitable programs that exist because somebody has heard the call to love a neighbor like you'd like to be loved yourself. That'll help reinforce the values that parents teach at home as well. Ours is a great land, and one of the reasons why is because we're free, and so I don't support censorship. But I do believe that we ought to talk plainly to the Hollywood moguls and people who produce this stuff and explain the consequences. I think we need to have rating systems that are clear. And I happen to like the idea of having technology for the TV, easy for parents to use, so you can tune out these programs that you don't want in your house. But I'm going to remind mothers and dads, the best weapon is the off-on button and paying attention to your children and eating dinner with them. And being, I'm sorry.
That's right.
It's on my peroration.
Yeah.
My turn.
Vice President Gore.
I care a lot about this. It's not just movies. Television, video games, music, the internet. Parents now feel like you have to compete with the mass culture in order to raise your kids with the values that you want them to have. Tipper and I have 4 children, and God bless them, every one of them decided on their own to come here this evening. I don't want to embarrass our oldest daughter. She and her husband made us grandparents almost a year and a half ago. And yet, if she'll forgive me, when she was little, she brought a record home that had some awful lyrics in it. And Tipper hit the ceiling. And that launched a campaign to try to get the record companies to put ratings warning labels for parents. And I'm so proud of what she accomplished in getting them on there. I've been involved myself in negotiating and in helping to move along the negotiations with the internet service providers to get a parents protection page every time 95% of the pages come up, and a feature that allows parents to automatically check with one click